Hello students, a very good afternoon to all and welcome back to daily newspaper analysis of 7th of May. So here we have 6 important articles from The Hindu. So let's discuss line by line. So first article is related to the hung assembly. So as you know, recently elections took place in Tamil Nadu. So here no single party has got the complete majority. That's why the concept of hung assembly is very important here. Next article is related to the resignation of CM. So as we discussed about the elections, so elections took place in West Bengal also. So there was an article that the previous chief minister of West Bengal was refusing to resign. So we shall be discussing, is it possible and what are the consequences? Next topic we have about the Great Nicobar project. So here the topic of Gram Sabha has been discussed, because if you want to divert land for any particular project, first of all you need to take consent of Gram Sabha. Next, a small topic is related to Project Freedom. So this has been discussed in the context of West Asia crisis. Next topic we have about the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner. So here the article is discussing that what should be the proper process or what should be the proper way to appoint the Chief Election Commissioner of India. And next, the final article we have about the International Big Cat Alliance. So in June, the inaugural session of this International Big Cat Alliance will be taking place in India. So without any delay, let's start our discussion. So the first topic says, Tamil Nadu governor asked Vijay to give proof of majority. So first of all, let's discuss briefly about this issue. See, as you know that, just a second. Yes. So as you know, for the purpose of election, a state is being divided into number of constituencies. So similarly, Tamil Nadu, similarly in recent elections, for the sake of elections, Tamil Nadu was divided, or Tamil Nadu is divided into many constituencies. So the number of constituencies in Tamil Nadu is 234. Now, Tamil Nadu does not have bicameral legislature. So in state legislative assembly of Tamil Nadu, in state legislature of Tamil Nadu, we have just state legislative assembly and we do not have state legislative council. So these seats, these 234 number of seats in the state legislature belong to legislative assembly only. Now, if a particular political party or if a coalition or alliance have to form the government, then they must have seats that is 50% plus 1. 50% plus 1, that means 117 plus 1. That means to form the government, any particular political party or any coalition or alliance must have at least 118 seats. Now, what happened? After the elections in Tamil Nadu, one party emerged as the largest party. That means TVK emerged as the largest party and it had 108 votes. Now, though it was the largest party as compared to other political parties, but it did not have the sufficient number to form the government, because to form the government or to ensure the majority of legislative assembly, you must have at least 118 number of seats. Though other political parties, for example, Congress has promised the support of 5 MLAs, but even after that, the number comes to 113, which is still short of the majority. So now here comes the role of coalition politics or alliance. So here, whenever a single party is not able to fulfill the required number for the majority, then 2 or 3 parties come together and then they will ask the government, and then they will inform the governor that governor can invite them to form the government. Okay, so these all things are happening in Tamil Nadu, that no single political party is having the required number of seats which can ensure the majority. So now, in all these situations, the role of governor is very, very important. Here, governor plays a very, very important role. Now, what is the role of governor here? See, the role of governor, according to Article 164, is to appoint the chief minister of any state. This is the role of governor. And here in this situation, what governor can do? Governor can invite the leader of the single largest party, or invite the leader of any party which has largest number of votes to form the governor. Now, after you understood all these things, now let's come to the original article, what the article is saying. See, so here what happened? the leader of TVK met Governor of Tamil Nadu and staked claim to form the government in Tamil Nadu. Staked claim means formally the leader of that largest political party is saying that I have sufficient number of MLAs, I have support of sufficient number of MLAs, I have sufficient number of seats, and hence I am ready to form the government. So here, as we already discussed, that TVK emerged as the single largest party. It had 108 seats, but still it did not have sufficient number of seats. So it was short of majority, and this is only called as hung assembly. So what is the meaning of hung assembly, or what is the definition of hung assembly? Hung assembly emerges in a situation when no political party have the sufficient amount of votes which can match with the numbers which are required for the majority. Okay, so this is the concept of hung assembly. So this is the current situation in Tamil Nadu at present. So now situation is governor has not yet accepted the claim, because here we were discussing the leader of TVK has staked the claim. Staked the claim means they are telling the governor formally that we have sufficient numbers and we can form the government. But yet governor has not accepted the claim, because governor is still suspicious that maybe TVK might not be having the sufficient number of members. So governor has asked to prove the majority. Whenever any political party, whenever any party have to prove the majority, proving the majority, that means the floor test. So governor is saying, okay, if you are saying that you have the sufficient numbers, then prove that thing, that you have the sufficient numbers or not. So see, majority, that party does not have to prove in front of the governor. What the governor will do of majority? Majority has to be proved on the floor of the house, right? So majority have to be proved in front of the MLAs. So where floor test will be done? Floor test will be done in the legislative assembly, and it will not be done in front of the governor, because there is no purpose to prove majority in front of the governor. Because how you can prove majority in front of the governor? Just through the letters or through the name of all those MLAs that they are supporting us. But to prove that thing, you have to go to the floor of the house. So that's why governor in Tamil Nadu is saying that I am suspicious that you have the sufficient numbers. So please prove it to me that you have the sufficient majority. So proving the majority, that means the floor test. Where the floor test is conducted, it is conducted at the floor of the house and not in front of the governor. Next important thing is, floor test is not conducted before the government is formed. Floor test is conducted after the government is formed. See, this is the process. For example, elections happened, right? And after elections happened, leader of the largest political party is saying that I have sufficient number of MLAs and now I can form the government. So when the party is claiming that, the governor will invite the leader of that political party to form the government. Now the government is formed. Government is formed. PM has taken the oath. After the oath is taken, after the complete government is formed, now floor test will be conducted. And if that particular political party succeeds in the floor test, then okay. And if they fails, then governor will invite another political party or another coalition or alliance to form the government. So this is the complete process, and this is the complete news. So please remember that what is floor test? Floor test, that means you have to prove the majority in the house, not in front of the governor. Second thing, floor test is not conducted before the government is formed. It is conducted after governor has invited that leader of largest political party, government is formed, oaths are taken, and then you have to prove whether this sufficient number of MLAs, that is 180 number of MLAs, are with your political party or not. Okay, so I think these were the important things. Now, important thing here is, as we discussed, that role of governor is very important here. So this role of governor comes under the discretionary powers of the governor. So here, first of all, we discussed about Article 164, right? Because under Article 164, what this article says, that CM will be appointed by the governor, and CM will be appointed at the pleasure of the governor. So first of all, let's discuss about Article 164. So this article says, the chief minister shall be appointed by the governor, and other ministers shall be appointed by the governor on the advice of chief minister, and all these ministers and CM shall hold office during the pleasure of the governor. What is the meaning of pleasure of the governor? That whenever the time requires or whenever there is the requirement. Okay, yes, Janu. So yes, we are discussing about Article 164. So for exam, I don't know, actually for this year also, Article 164 and 163 are very, very important. So what are the two provisions under Article 164? That first of all, Chief Minister will be appointed by the governor, and Chief Minister and other ministers will hold office during the pleasure of governor. Pleasure of governor, that means any time if the governor thinks that this is good time or no, this is the valid time, governor can dismiss the chief minister also and council of ministers also. Now, this pleasure of governor is not completely discretionary. Discretionary means in this situation, governor does not act on the aid and advice of council of ministers. It depends completely on the discretion of governor. But this discretion is also based on the majority of the house, because it's not like that. No, even if today the governor of today is enjoying the support or majority in the legislative assembly, then also governor will say, or the governor will ask the CM that you have to resign. It's not like that. Governor can enjoy its discretion only when it is valid, because if there is majority, if there is support of majority, governor cannot ask chief minister or any minister to resign from the office. So that's why Article 164 is very important. Now, second article which is important for us is the Article 163. Because when we are saying that governor can invite the leader of single largest party to form the government, why governor is able to do this? Governor is able to do this because governor has some kind of discretionary powers. See, the topic of governor has been increasingly asked in UPSC prelims also as well as mains also. So please do focus on this topic. So now we are discussing about Article 163. So what Article 163 says? First of all, it says that governor has to act on the aid and advice of council of ministers, except in so far as he is by or under constitution required to function under his discretion. So there are few situations where governor can act on its own discretion and governor do not have to listen to the council of ministers. So here governor has some situational discretion also. Situational means those discretion are not specifically mentioned in the constitution, but because of the requirement of the time or because of the political emergencies, governor has to take those decisions. And some of the powers are specifically mentioned in the constitution. So that's why we call them as constitutional discretion. Now, one more point about the discretion, that whenever there is a question that whether this particular thing will fall under governor discretion or this thing will be dealt by the council of ministers, whenever you have to take the decision on this, the decision of governor will be final. Governor will only say that this thing will fall under my discretion or not. Very, very important article, Article 164 as well as Article 163. 164 talks about that who will appoint chief minister of any state. 163 talks about the discretionary powers of the governor. Okay, so I think having discussed all these things, now let's quickly discuss about the discretion which we were discussing. Okay, so here, first of all, let's discuss about the situational discretion. Situational discretion, as I have already said, what is situational discretion? That means these are not specifically mentioned in the constitution, but because of the requirement of the time, because of the emergencies, governor has to take these decisions. So for what is the first situational discretion? The appointment of chief minister when no party has the clear majority. That means the situation of hung assembly, which we are discussing at present. So please remember why governor is able to do this, because governor has some kind of situational discretion. So first thing is, when no party has clear cut majority, then it depends on the discretion of the governor that who governor is inviting to form the government. Whether governor can appoint, whether governor can invite the leader of single largest party, or if they are not able to prove the majority, governor can invite the coalition or alliance also to prove the majority. What is the second discretion? Second discretion is the dismissal of the council of ministers. But as I've already discussed, this is not absolute discretion. Governor cannot dismiss CM or council of ministers if they are enjoying the majority in the legislative assembly. So dismissal can only be done when they do not enjoy the confidence in legislative assembly. Next thing is dismissal of state legislative assembly only. Why a state legislative assembly can be dismissed? It can be dismissed when council of ministers, the complete council of ministers loses majority in the legislative assembly. So these are the situational discretion. Please remember, please differentiate between situational discretion also as well as constitutional discretion also. It is very important because now I am going to discuss constitutional discretion. Okay, so these are some of the constitutional discretions. For example, first is to reserve a bill for the consideration of the president. So this has been mentioned under Article 200 of the Constitution. So what all things we are discussing, at least no, please focus and please read about those articles about the discretion of governor. So governor, without consulting council of ministers, can reserve a bill for the consideration of president. Second thing, governor can recommend the imposition of precedent rule. So this article, this thing has been mentioned under Article 356 of the Constitution. Similarly, other kind of discretions are also mentioned. For example, governor can exercise his functions as the administrator of any adjoining union territory, or governor can determine the amount payable to the government of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram, because these four states are the part of 6th schedule of the Constitution. So these all are the part of constitutional discretionary powers, and these three were the part of situational discretionary powers. Please remember, very important for the exam. Now, quickly tell me in the comment section, since we are discussing about the discretionary powers of the governor. So here we are discussing that governor has constitutional discretionary power also, as well as situational discretionary power also. Now tell me in the comment section whether this thing is applicable for the president of India also or not. So whether president of India also have constitutional discretion also, as well as situational, or any one of them. So please tell me the answer in the comment section. Next. Here, this article is also related to the previous article. So here, the previous chief minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee. So recently, she was refusing to relinquish office or to resign from the office after the electoral defeat. So here for you, it is very important to understand that what will happen if if the previous CM, if the outgoing CM refuses to resign from the office. So what all will be the consequences? So first of all, let's discuss this thing. See, as you know that India follows a parliamentary democracy, right? So in India, what we follow? We follow a parliamentary democracy. And in parliamentary democracy, the chief minister of any state must enjoy the majority of the state legislature. Chief minister can only be in the house until and unless he or she is enjoying majority of state legislature. Now consider a situation that CM of that state loses the majority. Consider a situation that CM lost the majority, or election happened and the ruling party, which is at present, it lost the elections. So see, there is no automatic rule in the constitution that if you lose the majority or if you lost the election, that automatically you have to resign. But this thing is for sure that if you do not enjoy the majority of the house or majority in the state legislature, then you can no longer remain in that office. Okay. Now, as we discussed already under article, okay, so I think as we already discussed under article 164 of the Constitution, that who appoints chief minister of any state? Governor appoints chief minister of any state, and chief minister holds the office during the pleasure of governor. That means chief minister can only be in office until and unless it enjoys the majority of the house. So under article 164, governor can ask the chief minister, if he has lost the majority, to resign from the office, because we have already discussed that chief minister holds the office during the pleasure of the governor. Now consider a situation that even after losing elections, the outgoing chief minister refuses to resign. So here the chief minister of West Bengal, she was refusing to resign. Now what will happen? So here also role of governor is very important. Now governor will come into the picture. What government will do, what governor will do, as we discussed in the previous article, here also governor will ask the outgoing CM to prove the majority. That if you are saying that you do not want to resign, if you are saying this, that means according to you still you are enjoying the majority. So if you are saying this, then prove the majority. So first of all, governor will ask the CM to prove the majority, or governor can directly ask to resign from the office, because it depends on the discretion of the governor. Now in proving the majority, that means during the floor test, for example, the CM, the outgoing CM, succeeds in getting the majority, then it is okay. But if CM fails in getting the majority, then what will happen? Governor will ask to resign from the office. Now, after the governor has asked to resign from the office, what governor will do? Governor will invite the leader of single largest party to prove the majority. And after governor has invited the leader of that largest party, next the other things continue as we discussed in the previous article. That now governor has invited the leader, then government will be formed, oaths will be taken, and after oath is taken, again you have to prove the majority on the house, on the floor of the house, and not in front of the governor. So this was the complete thing. So now as we have already discussed about article 163 also and 164 also, these two articles are very important from exam point of view. So please focus, read about the constitutional discretion also, read about situational discretion also, read about article 163, complete article 163 as well as article 164 of the constitution. Okay, now next topic we have about the Nicobar Gram Sabhas. So this topic is related to the Great Nicobar project. So first of all, let's discuss, I think we will discuss here only. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss what the important issue is. See, I think few days back we discussed about the Great Nicobar project, right? Great Nicobar project. So what all things we discussed, that what all things will be made under this project? I think we discussed about a transshipment port. We discussed about a transshipment port, we discussed about an airport, we discussed about the townships, etc., etc. Important point here is, if you want to make all these things, you will be needing land, right? And from where this land will come? So basically government is planning to take this land by diversion of forest, from where all the people, all the villagers are living. Yes, 81,000 crore for the Great Nicobar. So this is only the issue, that government is spending a lot and government is not even taking the consent of the people. So this is the important issue. So here I was discussing that from where land will come for the transshipment port, for the airport, etc. This land will come after the government divert the forest for all these activities. Point here is, in these forests important tribes are living, for example Nicobaris, or for example Shompenes, and the lifestyle of, yes, correct, infrastructure, ports, airports, all these things are built. Important point here is that lifestyle of all these tribes revolve around the forest only. Entire thing revolves around the forest. Then how can you divert these forests without taking the consent of the people? So see, important point here is, so see, we discussed that from where land will come after diverting the forest. So to divert the forest, first of all, you must take the permission of Gram Sabha in Nicobar. If Gram Sabha gives the permission, then only you can proceed. Now, to take the permission of Gram Sabha, to give the, how Gram Sabha can give the consent? For example, there are 100 people in Gram Sabha. So at least 50% of the people must be present there to give the consent. That means if you want a valid consent, then at least 50 members out of 100 must be present. And if they validate that okay, we agree to divert the land, then the government can divert the land. But if Gram Sabha is not giving the consent, government cannot take the action. Second thing, if less than 50% people are present and they are giving the consent, then also that is not considered as valid, because here 50% of the people is considered as quorum. And if the number of people who are giving the consent is less than the required quorum, then your consent will not be considered as legal. So this is the important idea which has been discussed in the article. So quickly let's discuss what the article is saying. Okay, so you are saying basically there are 5 PVTGs. So see, actually for exam point of view, all the tribes who are living there and especially the PVTGs who are living in the Andaman and Nicobar areas are very, very important for exam point of view. Okay, so article says the main issue concerns the Gram Sabhas and Great Nicobar project because it has been discussed that Gram Sabhas in Great Nicobar or Nicobar has given the consent for the mega infrastructure project. But the problem, because why we are discussing about Gram Sabha, because Forest Rights Act 2006 says that if you want to divert the land of forest for any particular project, then the consent of Gram Sabha is mandatory. Mandatory means if Gram Sabha is not giving the consent and even after that government is diverted the land, then it is illegal and this thing can be challenged. But the problem here is that Gram Sabha did not meet the mandatory quorum requirement of 50%. That means what is quorum? Quorum is the minimum number of people who are required for the proper functioning of Gram Sabha. So if the number of people are less than the required number of quorum, then even if Gram Sabha takes the decision, that decision is not legally valid and you can question that decision in the court. So this was the overall thing. Now, as we already discussed that what all things are covered in the project, so a transshipment port, airport, township, power plant, etc. But important thing here is there are main indigenous tribes who are Nicobaris and Shompenes who are main. So here Nicobaris are scheduled tribes and Shompenes are the PVTGs. And forest rights, see about Forest Rights Act, I think we discussed 2 or 3 days back also. Yes, Janu, very good. So India have total PVTG 75 and Odisha has the highest. And this question has already been asked in UPSC. So at least for this year also, please focus on the PVTGs, overall name of PVTGs, etc. So here, I think about Forest Rights Act and its provisions, we already discussed 2 or 3 days back. So Forest Rights Act says that whenever you have to divert the land, forest land for any particular project, free, prior, and informed consent of Gram Sabha is very important. See, free means without any political interference. Prior means before starting the project. And informed consent means that you cannot, you have to make the Gram Sabha well aware about the all the provisions of the project. That means you cannot use any vague language and you can consider that okay, you got all the points, let it be. So it's your duty to make them aware about all the provisions of the project. Then only we can consider it as a free, prior, and informed consent of Gram Sabha. And in Gram Sabha, there must be proper representation of tribal communities. Even if after all these things consent is given, then we can consider that consent as valid. Okay, so you are saying Article 42. Yes, okay, okay. 42 and 44 Constitutional Amendment Act, Article 100. Okay. Orissa 13. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, okay. Very good. Okay, so what are the allegations in the article? So allegations are that consent process may not have been properly followed. So basically, article is saying that, for example, 100 people are living in this land, and if government wants to divert this land for a particular project, then at least you must ask those people, right? Because the people who are living there, they don't even have idea that land would be taken and government is taking their land, and they are also citizens of this country. So how can you take their land without taking the permission? Article 243. Okay, very good. Article 243. So here you will be discussing about the Tribes Advisory Council also. So here basically in Great Nicobar, you have the significant population of tribes. So their Gram Sabha also becomes important and Tribes Advisory Council also becomes important. But these two are the entirely different bodies. Now, since we are discussing about the Gram Sabha and question has already been asked about the Gram Sabha in exam, I think question was asked in age that who all people can become as part of Gram Sabha. So let's quickly discuss about Gram Sabha. So Gram Sabha is defined under Article 243B of the Constitution. Very, very important because UPSC can confuse you. Generally, UPSC give any particular word and says this word has been defined in the Constitution. So generally, that kind of statement is wrong. But here this will be correct, that Gram Sabha has been defined in the constitution under which article? So it has been defined under article 243B of the constitution, and 243B is under part 9. So basically part 9 deals with the Panchayati Raj institutions. Now quickly tell me in the comment section that part 9B deals with which kind of system, because part 9 deals with Panchayati Raj, part 9B deals with which kind of system? Tell me in the comment section. Now, quickly, let's discuss about the key provisions of the Gram Sabha. So here what you have to remember, first of all, Gram Sabha, whether it is defined or not, yes, it is defined. Under which article? So it is defined under article 243B of the constitution. Under which part? So part 9 of the constitution. Now, let's discuss about the composition of Gram Sabha. So Gram Sabha is defined as a body of registered voters in a village under a panchayat's jurisdiction. So who all people can be part of Gram Sabha? All the registered voters. So who all can vote? Any person who is above the age of 18. So any person who is a registered voter in a village can be part of Gram Sabha. No, cooperatives. I think cooperatives come under article comes under part 9B. I am asking about 9A. Yes, yes. So I am asking about 9A. So please give answer about 9A. Second is, very important for you is that Gram Sabha is not a elected body. Very, very important for the exam, that Gram Sabha is not a elected body. Because basically we are discussing that who all can be part of Gram Sabha. So all the registered voters in the village can be part of Gram Sabha, and this is not a elected body. So unlike elected bodies like Gram Panchayat, Jila Parishad, etc., Gram Sabha is not elected body. Gram Sabha directly comprises all the eligible voters. So very, very important, it's not a elected body. Now, article this provision was introduced in the constitution by the 73rd constitutional amendment act, that is part 9 was introduced through 73rd constitutional amendment act. Next important thing is that this is a permanent body. Please remember that Gram Sabha is a permanent body. And what is the role of Gram Sabha? So basically Gram Sabha will discuss about the overall village governance. That no, if you want to divert land of particular village, whether Gram Sabha is giving consent or not, what all issues are happening in the Gram Sabha. So it will take decisions related to development plans, resource management, etc. Yes, very good. So part 9A deals with the municipality. Very, very good. So Act came in 1992, it came into force in 1993. Very good, very good. Okay, so quickly let's discuss about the composition of Gram Sabha also. So as we discussed, Gram Sabha is composed of all the registered voters in a village. So here if we discuss about the composition, so persons who are above the age of 18 years, who are living in that village, and third, whose names are included in the electoral rolls. So if a particular person is qualifying, is coming under all these conditions, that person can be part of Gram Sabha of any village. Yes, April 24. Okay, okay. Very good. Now, next coming to this topic. So actually this is very small topic. Basically this topic is related to project freedom. So if I talk about exams, so in exam simply this type of question can be asked, that project freedom was recently in news. So it was in the context of, or it is related to. So quickly let's discuss about project freedom. So basically, first of all, project freedom is discussed in which context? So it is discussed in the context of West Asia crisis. So if question comes that project freedom is related to context of, so the answer will be it is related to context of West Asia conflict. Second thing is, what is project freedom? So project freedom was started by the US Navy recently, and what was the purpose? Its purpose was to help the commercial ships or vessels to leave the Strait of Hormuz. Because as you know, in the recent West Asia crisis, Iran has restricted or blocked the passage of vessels or ships from the Strait of Hormuz. So this was the initiative of US Navy to help the vessels or the ships to move out from the Strait of Hormuz. So what they will do? They will escort and guide various ships to move safely through the strait, and it will ensure the freedom of navigation. So if we talk what other things are important for the exam, okay, project freedom, Operation Epic Fury. how much population of mandal or see, Janu, this population of mandal block or panchayat samiti is not fixed for every state. It depends on the state to state. So I cannot quote any particular figure that no, these number of people will be in the block panchayat, these number will be in the municipality. No. So it depends on the state to state. So I think you must read about the provisions which are given in the constitution. Rate of farmers, yes, that's what I was saying, that if we talk that what other things are important for exam point of view. So first important thing is the location of Strait of Hormuz, Gulf of Oman, all these. So I think location of all these things I have already discussed, that's why I'm not discussing today. So you must read about the Persian Gulf, you must read about the Strait of Hormuz, you must read about the Gulf of Oman, and you must read about the countries which are surrounding Strait of Hormuz, and you must read about the countries which are bordering Iran. At least these many locations. Yes, so at least these many locations you must focus upon. Okay, now next important article we have related to the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner as well as Election Commissioner. So first of all, let's understand the complete issue. See, let's focus here. Okay, see, as you know, that earlier, what was the process to appoint Chief Election Commissioner as well as other election commissioners? Earlier, this appointment was done by the President of India. And appointment done by the president, so it's not on the complete on the discretion of president. Here president is acting on the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So earlier appointment was done by the President of India and it was on the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So here we can say that this process had the complete control of government. Now, what happened in 2023, Supreme Court passed an order, and according to that order, the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner as well as other election commissioners will be done based on the recommendation of a selection committee. Selection committee. And who will be the members of the selection committee? So it will have three members. First of all, Prime Minister of India, then Leader of Opposition, and then we will be having Chief Justice of India. So when Supreme Court has passed this order, yes, so that's what I'm discussing. When Supreme Court has passed this order, Supreme Court has clearly mentioned that this provision will be valid only until Parliament has passed any law for this issue. Parliament has passed any law under Article 324 for this purpose. So what Supreme Court has said, that what all things I am saying now, this thing will be valid only until Parliament has passed in a specific law. After that, Parliament under Article 324 has passed a law. And what was that law? That was Chief Election Commissioner and Other Election Commissioners Act 2026. Now, in this act, there was a slight change. What was that change? Selection committee was there. In selection committee, we have Prime Minister of India, we have Leader of Opposition, but in place of Chief Justice of India, now we have a Cabinet Minister. And that Cabinet Minister will be appointed by the Prime Minister of India. So here the main argument in the article is that earlier there was Chief Justice of India and there was Leader of Opposition. So there was no dominance of the government of present, or there was no dominance of ruling party. But now what you are doing, though you have Leader of Opposition, but here you have Prime Minister and here you have one Cabinet Minister, and both are belonging to the government at present. So whenever any voting will happen, so out of 3 votes, 2 votes will always go in the favor of government. So this is the main issue raised in the article, that the committee which was formed by the Supreme Court earlier, that was good, but the committee which is formed under the new act, that committee is very partial in nature. So this was the main argument which is discussed in the article. Okay, so now let's discuss if we have missed anything. So here, yes, so now Supreme Court has said that the committee which Supreme Court has made earlier, that committee was just a temporary arrangement and it was not the permanent. Why Supreme Court is saying this? Because Supreme Court has clearly mentioned that this system will function only until Parliament makes a law under Article 324 of 324 Clause 2 of the Constitution. So now Supreme Court is saying that why you are questioning this, because I have already said that until Parliament makes the law, my committee will be valid. After law is made, everything you have to follow according to the law. Okay, so now Supreme Court is saying, now here what the issue is, I have already discussed, issue is that the law gives the dominant control on the executive, and this is making Chief Election Commissioner as government friendly, because out of 3 votes, 2 votes will go in the favor of government. But now court has said that here the question is, can Parliament be told how to make a law? Because the petitioners are saying that law is not good, law is partial. So court is saying, can you tell the Parliament that how to make a law or not? Because Parliament has the power to make the law related to election commissioners under Article 324. So court has said that I have already said that it was a temporary arrangement, it was not permanent, and the role of CGI was just to fill the gap. So court is saying that law is valid because I have already said that it was a temporary arrangement. But still there are the issues. Why there are the issues? Because this law seems to be partial in nature, because here there will be dominance of executive, and hence chief election commissioners might work in the favor of government. So this was the overall issue. Okay, now our next article is about the first big cat summit in India. So see, first of all, let's discuss quickly. See, if we consider about the big cats, if we talk about the big cats, so what all animals are part of that? For example, tiger. For example, lion. These are the big cats. For example, jaguar or leopard. These are the big cats. So if you want to conserve the population of these big cats, you need to focus. You need to focus on the overall conservation. That means you need to focus on the overall ecosystem, because these all cats need the very large area to sustain. So that's why all these many countries have come together to form international big cat alliance, so that they can conserve the habitat and ecosystem of these big cats, and hence they can increase and protect their population. Okay, so the article says the inaugural summit of International Big Cat Alliance will be held in India. So please note, because these places are very important for the summit, and it is more important because it is the inaugural session. So here, the inaugural session of International Big Cat Alliance will be held in India in June, and the summit is expected to adopt the Delhi Declaration. So Delhi Declaration is related to the conservation of big cats. See, if you want to conserve big cats, first of all, what you must do, you must protect their habitat, because increasing the human as well as wildlife conflict, because of that the habitats of these species are getting destroyed, and if their habitats are destroyed, their population cannot survive. Second thing is, what you have to do, you have to do the prey management, because if the prey is not properly available, or proper nutritious prey is not available, then also population cannot survive. Third thing what you have to focus is, you have to focus on the transboundary movement, because the tiger who are in the conserved area in India at present, those tigers can move to the conserved area in Nepal, because tigers don't know about the political boundaries, right? So that's why countries have to cooperate among themselves, because species can do the transboundary movement also. So these all things will be the main point of focus in the Delhi Declaration. So what all things they will focus? They will focus on the transboundary cooperation, on the landscape-based conservation approach, and on the habitat protection. Now, for prelims, it's very important to know about the International Big Cat Alliance. So, International Big Cat Alliance is a global alliance of countries, and it is focusing on the countries that host at least one of the 7 big cats. So please don't get confused. This alliance is not of countries who have all the 7 cats. It is focusing on the countries that host at least one of the 7 big cats. So what are those cats? Lion, tiger, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar, puma. So these are the 7 cats which this alliance has been focusing. very important thing is that this idea was conceived as well as led by India, and it was officially launched in 2023. So don't get confused that since the inaugural session will be happening in 2026, so it is launched in 2026. No, it is led by India and it was officially launched in 2023. Okay. Now, if we talk about the membership, so at present it has 24 member countries, 3 observer countries, and and other range countries also, because if large population of these cats are found. So at present it have 24 countries. Now, a practice question for you. With reference to the appointment of election commissioners in India, consider the following statements. Article 324 Clause 2 empowers Parliament to make a law regarding their appointment. Second, the Constitution explicitly mandates the inclusion of Chief Justice of India in the selection committee. Third, in the absence of a law, Supreme Court can prescribe a temporary mechanism. So please read the question carefully once again and try to answer in the comment section. Now, quickly go through the comments. Okay, so at least 2 members should how much population? Okay, Project Freedom, Strait of Hormuz. Yes, so Strait of Hormuz, Persian Gulf, and Gulf of Oman are very important for the exam. Indian operation to protect Indian ships at Hormuz Strait. Operation Sankalp, okay. Operation Sankalp, Operation Urja Suraksha, very good. 1/5 oil, yes. What is the importance of Strait of Hormuz? So around approx 20% of oil pass through Strait of Hormuz, okay. For CEC, what is the selection committee? PM, leader of opposition, cabinet minister, very good. And chief election commissioner removal is like Supreme Court, High Court judges, very good, okay. Article 324, election commissioner of India, okay. 61st, oh, okay, yes, very good. 61st Constitutional Amendment Act has no prescribed the age. What should be the minimum age for the voting? Okay, very good. Part 15 of the Constitution, 324, just a second. 324 to 329, okay. Okay, 7 cats. Okay. Jaguar and Puma not found in India. Okay. 7 cats, Big Cat Alliance. Okay. Ma'am, IUCN status of those cats. See, you don't have to remember the IUCN status of all the cats, like the lion, tiger, jaguar, etc. But basically, if any particular species is in news, then you can remember the IUCN status. For example, especially for leopard, lion, and tiger, at least you must remember the IUCN status. Okay. Okay, so I think 2% have given the answer as B. Okay. Okay. Okay, then I think that's all from my side for today. I think we are done with all the discussion, all the messages also. Okay, so that's all from my side for today. Thank you and have a nice day. And if